Hi again, this is Janine and Jen from Ready Together. Today we have with us Kerry Sutcliff. And what we're doing is a series of videos where we're looking at the different options that people can look into for birth preparation. We at Ready Together all agree that birth preparation is so important. And so we're very keen to talk to Kerry today to find out a little bit more about hypnobirthing.
Right, so yes, this is Kerry. Hi, welcome.
Hello.
So Kerry is part of Hypnobirthing Australia and has a wonderful business called the Hypnobirthing Mum. And so we brought you in here because we know you're passionate about what you do and you run an awesome course. And so we thought we would ask you a few questions just to let everybody know what it's all about and perhaps a little bit about you and why you got into hypnobirthing. And so that would probably be a lovely place to start. If you introduce yourself, it would be lovely.
Yeah, well, the reason that I got into hypnobirthing was through my first pregnancy. My background is I'm from the UK and my background is in counselling and psychology, predominantly with people who have anxiety and depression. And we were pregnant with our first child and I was around 30 weeks pregnant. And I saw a flyer at work that said something like, would you like a relaxing, enjoyable birth? And it grabbed my attention because I had no idea that birth could look anything other than what I'd seen in the movies and TV and so on. So I was, heading into my third trimester and I was becoming more and more anxious about giving birth. And so I went along to an information session. I found out more about it and I went on and had 3 great births ultimately. So I ended up training in the Hypnobirthing Australia program here in Australia once we'd moved here. And so now I teach other mums and partners, and I also work at the School of Medicine in a Sydney-based university looking at childbirth education and looking at the birthing outcomes for mums and babies based on antenatal education. So I've got a real passion now. Having had 3 great births, I now want to help other mums and partners and babies to have really great births, basically. So that's how I've ended up doing this through my own births, ultimately.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. And what I'm wondering is not everybody knows exactly what hypnobirthing is. And if you were to describe what your course, the hypnobirthing course is, to someone that knew nothing about birth education, how would you describe it to them?
Yeah. Ultimately, it's about having a really positive approach to birth. So like I say, many women feel very scared, anxious, nervous about the thought of giving birth. They think about pain. How will I cope? How's this baby going to come out? So it's very much about approaching birth from a very positive mindset. So the courses that I run, it goes through 4 different units. The first unit is about creating and maintaining a positive mindset, because although we naturally think about the physical act of giving birth, it all starts up here in terms of how we're thinking in the lead up to birth. So what we go through on the course is about how the more fearful we are in our mind leading up to birth, that leads to a lot of physical tension and it increases the amount of pain that a woman experiences during birth. So we're very much about replacing those fearful thoughts with a really confident mindset. And when women are feeling confident in their ability to give birth, then physically they can get into a more relaxed state, which allows everything to keep flowing during the pregnancy process and allow her to birth her baby, basically. So we talk about the mental preparation and reducing those anxieties and fears. We also go through a toolkit of evidence-based techniques which are designed to help manage labour and birth, because I'm not here to say that, it's a walk in the park. Birth is an intense experience, and women, it's about kind of surrendering to that process and working with it, working with your body to bring your baby to you. So we go through this toolkit of non-pharmacological evidence-based techniques which help a woman manage her labour and birth, her breathing techniques, acupressure, aromatherapy, music. And we go into the reasons why those work, because I think sometimes people think that sounds nice, but does it really help? Yes, it does. Then we also look at choices and options, because for many women as well, they don't realise that actually there's things that they can choose in relation to birth, that there's options, that we want to take on the woman's own preferences and her mindset and what's important to her. So hypnobirthing is not about creating one particular type of birth. I think sometimes people think it's got to be a water birth, no drugs are allowed, etc. It's not about that. It's about going through the pros and cons of the different choices and options that are available to mums. And then it's also about the childbirth education as well. So talking through the labouring and the birthing process, so mums and partners really understand what's happening, how it's happening, talking about the hormones that are going on behind the scenes, how your body is designed to birth your baby. And that really helps give women a lot of confidence as well, knowing that their body is made to do this, but understanding that, because many women don't actually know the process of birth and what's going on within her, which is helping that to uncover, basically. So really it's just that positive approach to birth. And it's about, for our program as well with Hypnobirthing Australia, we talk about how there's a spectrum of birth, where at one end you have the normal, natural, however you want to label it, birth, and you have cesareans, and even within cesareans there's different ways in which they occur. And it's about really making sure that you have the tools, the knowledge, the techniques and the support, that whatever circumstances you get, you come out of birth having had a really positive experience.
Yeah, that all makes so much sense to me.
Doesn't
and I know, you know, from my experience having my 4 boys, just having some knowledge about, you know, when you're feeling a contraction, knowing that that's the uterus doing what it needs to do to get your baby out can sort of take that fear away. So, you know, the knowledge and, you know, can just make such a difference.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
just wondering, sort of with your course, do you get partners involved? Do they play a big role or a small role? How does that work?
Yeah, there's a big thread throughout the course for partners. I think in some ways, many of the partners start off a little bit like my husband did, you know, a bit skeptical, a bit
Yeah.
unsure, but wanting to be there because that's what mum wants to do and they want to support. And by the end of it, they often have had the biggest shift in some ways, realizing that there's so much that they can do to help and support and encourage. And whether it's what they say, what they do, whether that's practical support, emotional support, because this is the journey for the couple. You know, they've got pregnant together, they're looking forward to being parents and entering, you know, motherhood and fatherhood, and this is a journey for them too. So whereas once upon a time men were either a spare part in the room, and the birth partner obviously isn't always a man, but you know, men were very much, you know, pushed to one side, let the women get on with the women's business, and felt they didn't really know what to do and how to support. Whereas they want that now these days. You know, couples want to do this together. They want it to be a team building exercise, so to speak. And actually doing the hypnobirthing practice throughout pregnancy is a really nice way for them as well to stop together, to connect, to take a moment out to enjoy this journey towards meeting their baby together. And then for the partners on the day to really know what they can do to help, because that can make a huge difference to the birthing mother.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that when partners get on the same page together through the birth, it sets them up for success with the baby. You know, it's a really good start.
I agree. And so now, obviously, people are not able to come to the courses, but we're having to change things for the COVID situation. So, how are you running your courses in this climate, in this environment?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, because we had our courses all ready to go, all we've had to do is adapt it to Zoom, which has been a really easy transition, actually. And the couples that I've been teaching, they've been able to do this from the comfort of their own sofa. And just like you and I are now, I can show the PowerPoint slides that we would go through. They can still watch the birth videos of the parents who've done this program, have shared with us the moment they meet their baby. We can still practice these techniques, and I can give feedback and interact and so on. So it's been a very easy transition, actually, to be able to do that. I'm still looking forward to once everything changes. I like that connection of being in the room with people too. I think that's important. But for anybody where this is a better option for them, or you know, there's not been the opportunity to wait till everything goes back to normal, whatever normal is going to look like, it's been really easy for them to just be able to book in and do it just online, just like we are now.
That's so wonderful.
So, yeah, that's so good. Thank you so much. I just wanted to ask, sort of as we wrap up this chat, why do you think birth education is so important?
Oh, why is it so important? There's a million and one reasons that I could probably give for this. I think it's important to do your preparation. Any other significant life event that we were heading towards, we would plan and we would prepare. so that that wedding went smoothly, that job interview, emigrating, whatever it might be. We put plans in place so that we can prepare for big events so that they can go well, and birth is no exception. There's so
Absolutely.
much for parents to know that they can do to manage that labour and birth. This is not a process that we turn up on the day, wing it. Once you're in labour, it's too late at that point to go, well, what can I do to get through this? We're then on that treadmill and we're just going down that path. So it's about really kind of getting yourself prepared, because the moment you meet your baby, the act of giving birth and being in labour is about meeting your baby. And as well as holding your baby in the arms once it's done, knowing that that process leading up for it, the hours, the days potentially leading up to it, can be a really empowering process. It can really bring couples together, really working as a team. And I mean, I came out of birth, I've done it 3 times as well, and I remember the first time I had a baby, I said I would do that again today. And I had such a positive experience. And like you say, I think that really sets you up well going into parenthood, because that's the next challenge, so to speak, you know, raising that little person. So having a really positive birth experience, whatever that looks like. Positive looks like different things to different people, but having a positive experience is just really good. It sets you up well.
And feeling good about, you know, empowered with the choices you make, and good about it. Yeah, I totally agree.
And having been a total part of that journey and having those decisions, and, you know, I think I agree. Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Oh, thank you for letting me come along and chat. I could talk all day about it.
We can talk about it all day too. We love it as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jen. Bye.
Thank you.